like to find that though.
Let's see. This will tell me.
Will.
Okay. 141. Try 141.
No, 141 is there's different pages on the ebook, right?
Okay.
But
gotcha.
Okay, hold on, I will find it.
Okay, we are live on Facebook and we'll be starting officially in 2 minutes. So I am just going to share this real quick. Our link. So good to see everybody here today. We do have on occasion people pop into Zoom who can't get on Facebook very easy. But Adam just keeps everything muted.
Okay, cool. Hello, Ellen Drummond. ...
And Jeff, where are you in Canada?
Just outside Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Have you been?
I have. Actually, I've been up to Canada, but to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whole different planet. Whole different planet.
It is. It is so beautiful. All right. All right, we're so close. So many moving parts in all of this. All right, we are shared. We are shared, and we have 1 minute till we officially get started.
Wow, it's going official here. The rocket is going to launch.
It is.
Cool. Yeah, Unity. My friend Jill Angelo was working for Unity at some point. I don't know if you know her. And then they put the Grounded on the cover of one of their things. Your magazines. I love your magazine, actually.
Yeah.
My favorite ones. I met Katie, who runs that show. She's wonderful.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We just had Gail join us on Facebook. Hi, Gail. Good to see you here.
Hey, Gail.
All right, we are at 1 o'clock here, Pacific Daylight Time. I just want to welcome everybody to our Light It Up Wednesday. Today, my special guest is author, teacher, and enrealment activist, Jeff Brown. Jeff is the soul-shaping author of 7 books, including Grounded Spirituality and the soon-to-be-released Hearticulations, a book on love, friendship, and healing. He's also the founder of the Soulshaping Institute and is the creator of the award-winning documentary, Karmageddon. And I love that title, Karmageddon. That's what it feels like. So today we'll be discussing the power and practice of grounded spirituality and the benefits of living a heartfully human life. So welcome, Jeff.
Thanks,
so
Deanna.
good.
It's good to be with
nice.
you. And the Unity community. I really love I get a lot of support from various Unity communities, and yeah, I'm happy to be with you.
Oh yeah, well, your message really resonates with us. Like, I know in particular me, I love it. So would you like to share your definition of grounded spirituality?
Just so happens I happen to be on that page. Okay, so grounded spirituality, and I'll read the definition from page 92. Grounded spirituality is an all-encompassing experience of spirituality that is rooted in and threads throughout all aspects of our humanity and earthly experience. We begin and end our spiritual quest within the ground of our being, our embodied humanness, as both interpreter of experience and as our individuated portal to divinity. We don't look outside our human form for spirituality. We look deeper within name and form, cultivating a more refined understanding of the divine reflection that exists right in the heart of our selfhood. We honor its sacred qualities and transformative properties, celebrating it as the perfectly constructed laboratory of expansion that it is. With our feet rooted firmly on Mother Earth and in daily life, we become grounded in reality in all its identifiable forms. We expand outward and inward from there. Let me go on a bit more. In essence, grounded and spirituality are synonyms. They both mean reality. The more deeply grounded you are in your body and selfhood, the more fully you're here. The more fully you're here, the more spiritual your experience. It's from the depths of your being that you have the greatest access to the everything, etc. So in many ways, this was birthed through my own process, and Karmageddon and my time with Bhagavan Das and Ram Dass and all of them was part of that. It became evident to me that there was this thing that I've been calling for years patriarchal spirituality that seemed to divorce spirituality from humanness.
Mhm.
And as a result, the guru could get away with anything by claiming that it wasn't really him, it was his persona, it was his personality, his story was acting out, but he's not really a story, and all of the nonsense that allows all of that to go on. So for me, it seemed clear the more human I became, the more spiritual my experience was. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I feel that way too. I feel that way too, that at the beginning of my journey, when I started thinking differently about my religion, I found the new age culture. And I had to laugh. In your book, you call it the new cage movement, right? But I went into that thinking I'd found my new tribe. And I found out, like, shortly after really getting a little deeper into it, I felt shamed because I felt like I wasn't doing it good enough. Like, I had to be enlightened. And
You had to be fa enlightened.
yeah. And
Yeah.
like, I would hear people say, I'm so done on this planet. Like, this is my last life. I'm done here. And I was like, wow, I'm really screwing this up
Well, that's
because I love
probably
it.
true. That's probably true. It is their last life on this planet, but not because they're going to become Brahmin thereafter. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love this life. I love it here, but I really like felt more connected when I did feel like when I thought into my body and felt grounded on planet Earth.
I mean, I think that so much, I mean, the patriarchal construct and the new cage construct are somewhat different, but equally as dissociated. Um,
Yeah.
so I think the whole patriarchal game was sort of men who didn't want to deal with their feelings. Most women know about those men who created a story of mastery, realization, enlightenment, and awakened in order to kind of camouflage the fact that they were just unresolved humans carrying the pain of the individual and the collective like the rest of us at a
Hmm.
stage in human development that it just is what it is sociologically. So they created a whole story about the self not being real, the story not being a real, emotions are an illusion, the body is not really real, all of that, so they could get away from everything that didn't feel good. They got into silence and stillness because kind of noise and movement brought up all their stuff and triggered their materials. So it becomes this hocus pocus story with outfits and new names and all the rest of it. And anyone who is looking for something or who didn't get what they needed from their parents is happy to godjectify and put that onto somebody else and elevate them. And then the whole system is birthed. The new cage movement, which is the perverted version of sometimes helpful new age principles,
Hmm.
is similar in a regard, but it's also different. It's mostly kind of bliss trippers, transcendence bypassers, people who really don't want to be here. They don't want to deal with their stuff. So they've created all kinds of simplistic aphorisms that allow them to get away from dealing with their material, and they use them on everybody else. Because if they
Hmm.
can convince you and persuade you, then they can persuade themselves that they've found a better place. But when you really look closely at their lives, you begin to realize that that's not really what's happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In our community here, the Unity community here in Yucaipa, California, I have just met so many wonderful, kind, compassionate people. And like sometimes they will ask me, like, Deanna, I'm feeling really angry right now. I feel like I'm failing at this and I need to be positive. And so I feel like I'm not spiritual. And I'm like,
So sad. I mean, look what we've done. No wonder,
yeah.
no wonder there's so much con spirituality now. They're all dissociated. They're all buying into a version of spirituality or a sacred life that exists independent of the veracity or truth of their feelings, you know?
Yeah.
And listen, we get why the guru could control us and how the system and patriarchy controls us by not allowing for judgment, gossip, or anger. You can get away with anything when people in your sangha can't get angry, can't judge you, and can't talk about you. So these systems are very convenient, but what they've done is they've dehumanized us. Yeah,
Hmm.
I get we want to distinguish unhealthy anger release from healthy anger release, but
Yeah.
shoving all of anger under a carpet is not going to take us anywhere good, especially at a time when there's things we need to be angry about in order to affect change as activists in this world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I feel like it's really strongly about like I releasing shame. That's like a big thing to me. and with other people, like who feel shame because they know they should forgive, but they just can't do it yet. Or
they
like
don't,
they know.
or they don't want to forgive, and they go through a healing process, and at the end of the
Mhm.
process, they don't find forgiveness. They find relief, they find maybe resolution, but it
Yeah.
doesn't always have to include forgiveness. This forgiveness mantra bullshit teaching, which is all over religion, spirituality, and Oprah's world, forgiveness is big business. It's a marketing construct,
Mhm.
but it really doesn't always have something to do with reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't make any sense like
I
in the
don't I don't
mind.
for, I don't for, I don't forgive Hitler. I have no intention of forgiving Hitler.
Right.
You know?
Now, so what would you say then about like what it takes to live a heartful life?
Yeah, I think what it's about is, first of all, learning how you inhabit this body temple. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Learning like bioenergetics, core energetics, somatic experiencing, some of these psychotherapeutic, somatic psychotherapies are helpful to help us understand how we live in our bodies. Are you a head tripper? Do you divorce? Do you shallow your breath so you shallow your life and don't have to encounter your deep unresolved feelings? Learning how we live in our body, first of all. Stop the focus on monkey mind. The mind, that's the man game, it's symptomatic. Focus on the monkey heart. So drop down into your body, learn how to inhabit your body, learn how to clear the emotional debris that's in your body. That's not just yours, it's generational, it's collective, it's ancestral. We are carrying so much of everybody's material. And then as
Mm-hmm.
you clear more debris, more space will open up inside for you to inhabit your experience, to become present in your body in this life, and to encounter the purpose that lives at the heart of a true embodied presence. For me, presence and purpose are inextricably linked. So a lot of people in the spiritual community, in the imitative spiritual patriarchal traditions, talk about purpose, but they don't lead you back into your body. They desacralize the story, the self, the feelings. You can't find your purpose outside of your body. You can only find it by inhabiting yourself. So to me, that's really what happens. And as you clear the debris, more space opens up inside and your heart begins to open and you start living a more heartful, not so much a mindful life. Mindfulness is another patriarchal spiritual gig. It's another game. I call it bypassing a meditation. You can use these tools to kind of witness yourself and become aware of things, but if you're using them to pull you up and out of actually inhabiting and embodying those feelings, then it's just a bypass practice. And we have to find ways to come back into the body.
Yeah.
You're not going to
I,
change anything if you're not in your body. So I just want to say, there's this John Cusack movie. Was it like 2012? Was that what it was? That crazy movie? And
yeah.
there's this poster image for it, right? So there's all these kind of monks at the top of the mountain, kind of in this sort of pristine meditative stupor. And, you know, as though they're kind of like in the true state of being. And then you see the waves coming over the mountain to drown them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you realize how preposterous that patriarchal notion of spirituality is, that thinks there's something more real than the water that's coming to drown you. So I want our
Mm-hmm.
spirituality to inhabit reality in every regard and make that spirituality.
Yeah. I heard, like, I've listened to some of the other podcasts you've been on, and I've heard you say a couple of times that you go into your breath so that you can access your common sense and your intuition.
Absolutely. Well, so right now,
Yeah.
in the heart of a pandemic, in the heart of a Trumpian world, in the heart of a climate change anxiety world, people
Mm-hmm.
have reason to dissociate. It's really uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to see why they'll fall into all kinds of rabbit holes of interpretation of what's going on. Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
not in your body, if you've disconnected from the body because it hurts too much to be in your body, how are you going to be able to encounter common sense and intuition? When I encounter
Mm-hmm.
common sense now, I'm shocked. I want to write them a check for $1,000. I'm so grateful somebody can be common sense oriented, which for me means to some extent they're living in the reality of the human experience.
Oh, sorry about that. Ugh.
Yeah.
I so when you talk about going into your breath, are you talking about like just focusing on your breathing? Is it that simple?
Well, I mean, I did a lot of holotropic breath work, which helped me to move a lot of debris out and allowed me to experience reality with a more expanded breath cavern.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not always possible. I'm in an overwhelmed reality right now, so I notice myself shallowing my breath constantly. But when I'm able to energize the breath, not just watch the breath. So remember, not watching and inhabiting are not the same things. So we can develop a brilliant capacity for witness observing, which is part of the patriarchal spiritual game, without actually being anywhere near our breath or body. So the work is to find a way to, for most of us, energize our breath through a strong energetic breath practice like holotropic, in order to actually start to feel feeling flowing through the body and to bring our energy back down from our mind into our body so that we're in a more heartful state of being. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, I do like to just breathe and focus on it being in my heart. And I feel like that helps me sense my own body more.
Beautiful.
You were saying, you were talking about if we are not enough in our body, you said that we're ripe for the picking. I like how you put that. We're ripe for the picking of both the media and the anti-media.
And the marketing world. So in soul shaping, I said, which is similar, I think this is where that idea started, that consumerism preys on the uncentered. So if you're not centered, and all of these systems economically and with the media, so the media wants to hit your survivalist anxiety button so that you stay gripped to their news reports because you're afraid that you're not going to get that key piece of information you need to stay alive. So the idea is to overwhelm and overstimulate you so much on so many levels that you're no longer in your center. You're not in your breath, you're not in your body, you don't have common sense, you don't even know what your intuition is. So then you'll buy anything they're trying to sell you, either because it'll make you feel cooler if you make the purchase, or because they just want to feed you a narrative that has some ultimate economic benefit for them in terms of marketing revenues. And all of it is dependent on you being uncentered, overwhelmed, and overstimulated. So the only way we can respond to that is turning it all off and going back into nature or wherever our practice leads us to bring us back into our bodies, back into our centers. Because if we're not in our bodies, we're ripe for the picking. We are ripe for the picking. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, I have people ask me, well, they'll say, oh, I'm real overwhelmed. There's all this is happening. Yeah, I turned off the news and I'm trying to be positive, but I'm just not able to be positive.
Okay. You're
And
talking about like right now in the heart of the pandemic?
Right.
Yeah, you don't have to always be positive. We're in a fucking pandemic. I mean, it's not easy to be positive. And most of us are riding all kinds of waves, and I think we have to, there's the emotion of a pandemic, quite apart from all of our own triggers that are coming up in this entrapped, discouraged space. I think we have to allow for them and not get snared by them to the extent that we feel self-destructive. But, I think this artificial positivity movement, it plays right into the hands of the unconscious media and the unconscious marketing structures. All of them, they want you to be exactly there where you're looking, grappling, grasping at things that will never satisfy or fulfill you. So I think my work is primarily about having us come back down into our experience, coming into contact with whatever inside of us needs to be felt and moved and resolved. So if we come to positivity, it's an authentic experience. It's not a fake one.
Right.
It's kind of common sense, really. I don't feel like I'm saying anything that isn't common sense.
Right. You're not.
Or what we used to call common sense.
Yeah. You mentioned before about not denying our stories. Like some of us have difficult stories and some of us have easy stories. I think most of us have a lot of difficulty in there.
Mostly, yeah.
What happens when we try to deny all the hard stuff we've gone through that we can't seem to get over?
Well, we make it less likely that we're going to live a long life because we repress the veracity of our experience, the truth of our experience. And all that toxicity turns inward against the self or outward against innocence. That's what's going on in our world. We see so much of that. And, Byron Katie's self-avoidant bypass, you turn around game can be beneficial sometimes on a basic level. It's good to ask the question, is that true? But if it's being utilized in a way of telling you that all stories are untrue, which is, I think, her fundamental message, and that you go where Eckhart and her go, which is to float up above the human experience and call that delusional state awakening, I think it's very dangerous. I think
Mm-hmm.
we really want to turn towards story. We want to honor story. We've been going for centuries. We have had various words, terms, and notions to put away story. Don't look back. You know, my grandmother had a million cliches for how you don't look at your story because it was too painful and they didn't have the tools. So, but we
Mm-hmm.
keep doing that. We don't notice anything that's real, including what's happening to our planet, and then the species is destroyed. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's time for us to bring, and Black Lives Matters is a beautiful example of it. People are saying, look, I'm not putting my story away. I'm going to bring my story out and it's going to be in your face, and you're going to have to see my story fully, finally, absolutely, whether you like it or not, because we're all trauma survivors on this planet, and we're not going to change anything if we don't acknowledge that and acknowledge our victimhood. You know, there's this whole
Mm-hmm.
Americana perpetual positivity syndrome, fixation on artificial positivity, on denying victimhood, at calling someone a victim who keeps telling their story. Well, maybe the reason they keep telling the story is because no one's actually ever listening to them, or
Mm.
because we don't have tools or techniques in place yet to actually help them to move through the story to whatever degree of resolution may be possible at the other end. So I think it's time we own the fact that we're all trauma survivors and learned how to listen to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And to me,
Oh,
that's real spirituality. That gives me hope.
yeah. That's beautiful. That is
That
beautiful.
gives me hope. All that
Mm-hmm.
perpetual positivity stuff, which I use to survive and overcome, and they're helpful tools and techniques, but you don't want them to become a perpetual way of being. That's the key. You want to do it
Right.
conscious positivity, consciously, and then
Mm-hmm.
come back and work your way towards real, authentic positivity. It's helpful stuff, but if you get trapped there, you're snared in a place that's not going to ultimately serve you, because you're not going to be living a real, or what I call an in-real life. You're going to be living an artificial life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like your term, enrealed life.
Enrealment, baby. It's our only hope, you know?
Yeah.
Like enlightenment, what are they even talking about? This absolute state, awakened, realized. It's a big story men like to tell, you know, so they can walk around feeling like they've bashed their ego, but they're completely full of the ego, claiming to be enlightened. It's all inherently built with contradictions and ridiculous. Awakening, okay. Realizing, sure. Enlightening, maybe. But I think enrealment just brings it back down to earth and allows for the
Yeah.
possibility of an inclusive consciousness that includes every aspect of the unfolding human experience, rather
Mm-hmm.
than delusion of having become a master who's going to become a Brahmin and never going to have to come back. It's just a big lie.
Now, I love being on this planet.
Yeah, well,
Like,
not everybody does, you know, but some
yeah.
people can't just say, I don't want to be here. It feels easier for them to convince themselves and everybody else that they're enlightened and they've transcended the human experience. Good luck with
Mm-hmm.
that.
Right.
I mean, Trump thinks he's enlightened and awakened and masterful. So what else do you need to know?
Right. Well, yeah, I know a lot of people who think they're enlightened.
Yeah, I know a lot of them. They sleep in their cars, a lot of them,
Yeah.
on the beaches of Maui. And their
Yeah.
personal lives are a shambles. But anyway, their story is it doesn't matter because that part's not real. The state that they're in is the real state. It's all just a lie. Like once you see through it all, once you hang out with Bhagavan Das for long enough, once you hang out with, you know, watch Eckhart, see how he kind of laughs sadistically when people talk about people and their challenges. You go, what's really going on with these people? Like, what is this
Mm-hmm.
story there? It's ironic. They bash the stories, but they're completely controlled by this shtick and story that they've trapped themselves
Ah.
inside of. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just look a little closer.
Yeah. Hmm. Now, okay, you have a new book coming out, Hearticulations.
Hearticulations. Hey, I think I had it here. We just got the book proof.
Yeah,
I
I
really,
saw you
I
opening your
know.
book proof
Oh,
the other
did you?
day.
I
Yeah.
know. See, isn't it
Yeah,
so
I
cute?
love
It's
it's
it's my
beautiful.
fourth book of quotes. They're like my little quotes. But
It's
I
beautiful.
know. I just feel so cute. It's just like a little mango sushi roll or something like
You're
that.
just adorable.
I just want to eat it. I know.
Yeah.
And I've got a
The
Leanne Rimes quote on the top too, which I was excited about because she's been
read
supporting
us the
me.
quote.
Leanne said, Jeff has a way of truly breaking your heart open through the weaving of poetic wisdom and brutally honest truth. And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
I like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
nice. It's a nice, very
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, she's a
it
sweetie.
is. Well, I like but I like what I've heard you say on relationships and facing the person in the mirror first, so that
The only thing I like about Michael Jackson was his "Man in the Mirror" song. That was the only thing I ever liked about Michael Jackson.
That was a good song. That was a good song.
Good song.
But yeah, you hear this a lot in the new, in all kinds of spiritual communities. It's like, I'm waiting for my soulmate. I'm waiting for my perfect partner. And it's like, we are the perfect partner for ourselves. Like, turn into that. We are the wholeness. We are the enough.
I mean, the way I think if you find what I call sacred purpose, or your true path, or your soul scriptures, or your entelechy, whatever you want to call it, you relationship still is a part of that in various ways and forms. But you have so much more self-gratification that you don't turn to relationship to make you whole. You've kind of found your pathway to wholeness in many ways.
Yeah.
And I also think at this stage of human development, it's most people can do to manage their own stuff, know themselves, know their authentic experience, know their triggers and issues. So creating this whole story of a perfected love relationship, as beautiful a vision of possibility as that is, and I wrote an Uncommon Bond about that vision, I think it's putting a lot of pressure on people to achieve something relationally that they have yet to achieve personally. So I think if we just start by trying to get healthier as individuals, it'll probably spill over and create a more realistic container for relational development.
Yeah. Now, would you be willing to just flip your book open and read us a quote?
Absolutely. You know what? I'm going to read you the first quote
Okay.
because it may be the most popular quote, oddly enough. Okay. It's not about letting it go. It's about letting it in. It's about letting it deep. It's about letting it through. It's about being true to your feelings. It's about giving your experiences the attention they deserve. And that may take a moment or it may take years. The trick is not to shame your need to hold on to what has yet to be resolved. Let it go is the mantra of the self-avoidant, feigning resolution because they lack the courage or the preparedness to face their feelings. Let's not play that game. Let's let things in and through until they're fully and truly ready to shift. Let's let it grow into the transformation at its heart. We write our story by fully living it, not by letting it go before it's time.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So let it through. So when someone goes on and on about something, maybe we don't say let it go. Maybe we say maybe you need to let it through so you can be more resolved with respect to what happened. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I mean, it's on point, right?
Yeah. And I'm just such a big fan of the heart. I really feel the heart is the gateway to everything, and letting things in. I love that. The idea of letting something in to gain the understanding around it.
Here, I got one for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna dedicate this one to you. But I gotta find it first. Where the hell is it? Wait, I think we put it early. Here it is. Okay, so this is on page 15 of Hearticulations. We are not just here together to keep each other company. We're here together to show each other God. The portal is each other. That's all. The path of the benevolent heart. That's what we've seen so much of the malevolent heart. We're seeing so much of that in America right now. And I think that dinosauric way of being, that unconscionable capitalistic way of being, it's fading out because it's not working, and because it's not serving the development and the saving really of the species and our humanity. So I think the next step is to be a warrior of the heart, but a benevolent warrior, not a malevolent warrior. And don't get so.
The warrior of the heart. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
So dropping down into the body, not floating up and away, not calling your tender woundedness the pain body, like you're talking objectively about a car part, but talking about tender woundedness, talking about the traumas of the human experience with a softness and a subtlety and a compassion, rather than with a rigidity and with an intention to sort of push things away so we can get back to surviving. Understanding
Yeah.
that we can't survive if we can't really live inside of our hearts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I see, especially like with the quote that you just read to us, like when I think about biblically, Jesus saying that he says, you must love each other as I have loved you. And that's how I see that Jesus loved, by looking at the heart of every person, like seeing that that is God.
You're talking about the real Jesus, not the Americana version of Jesus right now? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're trying to bring us back to the real one, not the made up one. Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's nice to hear about him. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could use him right about now to hang out with us a little
Yeah.
bit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was ferocious too. I mean, he was justifiably, he turned over the tables, all the rest of
Mm-hmm.
it. So, you know, to understand if you think you're a Jesus person, that it's okay to allow for healthy anger and not to
Mm-hmm.
get involved in artificial forgiveness, that authenticity is the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's what's been forgotten. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, I saw come through on my Instagram feed um, before I could catch it, because it was one of the sponsored posts from you about a program that you have upcoming.
Got a few.
Yeah?
Yeah, I have a poetry, I have a writing course on Soulshaping Institute that's very popular. That's back in mid-October, that just finished. My wife has a poetry healing course on Soulshaping Institute starting mid-September that is gorgeous and affordable. And then on jeffbrown.co, I have healing courses, Sacred Feminine Rising, Inner Child, and my abandonment wound healing course should be up in the second week of September. And I think that's going to go wild, that course, because
Oh, yeah.
it's an interesting thing. You know, I looked around as I felt called to write this book because of this course, because of my own experience with this wound was so powerful and difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really like almost nothing out there. It's almost as though it's this wound that nobody wants to touch. But I had the audacity
Mm-hmm.
to go into the heart of it and try to write a course. So that'll be up on jeffbrown.co as a download course soon. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jeff, we are at the end of our time.
Okay.
I just want to thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
And everybody, if you would like more information on his books, his audio courses, events, or if you want to book a soul shaping session, just visit Jeff's website, jeffbrown.co.
Because I'm a co-creational kind
Because
of guy.
You are a co-creation kind of guy. So we're going to say goodbye to everybody on Facebook right now. So
Great.
looks
Thanks,
like
everyone.
Craig joined. And so hi, everybody. Hi and bye. Thank you so much for being here. And so Adam is going to take us off live now. So bye, Facebook.